Jack remains the purest expression of dominance basketball has ever seen. From the moment he arrived in the league, he seemed to be playing an entirely different sport than everyone else. One where the rules of physics applied to his opponents, but not to him. It didn't matter who was guarding him or how many bodies the defense threw his way. When he caught the ball deep in the paint, the outcome was already decided. He shattered backboards, dismantled double teams, and made fully grown men look like they were trying to stop a freight train with their bare hands. This is the anatomy of a superstar, and this is Shaquille O'Neal. So, Adam, when you think of Shaq, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I just think power, force. I mean,
Yeah.
just especially in his prime. Whether it's the Magic days, the Lakers days, or even kind of the early Heat days, where it's like he just plays with such a force. When he's really kind of locked in, there's just nothing to do. Nothing to do with him. He catches the ball low. I mean, these players are just hanging on him, dragging him. His dunk highlight is like one of the best. I mean, I don't know. I actually love watching kind of big guys dunk like that when it's kind of a powerful dunker.
It's a standing dunk.
Yes, I actually find that like really like fun to watch. I understand like why maybe Shaq is not as like enjoyable as some other kind of all time great players. I disagree though. I love watching Shaq play. Like that kind of the like juxtaposition of like a guy with that size and force that can move the way he moves is just like shocking to me. I can't believe he never like blew out his knee because like you think about the torque he puts on his joints, like it's incredible. But he never suffered like a major, Achilles or ankle break or a knee injury, like just because he plays with so much force and torque. It's really incredible. I mean, he's just a freak.
So, my buddy Logan Ball was supposed to join us for this pod, but he had his kid literally 4 or 5 days ago. So, congrats to him. But
Yes,
he wrote that portion of that intro, and so if I were him and if I was asking him this question, he would say the same thing. It's just like there is no player who is as physically dominant this sport has ever seen at the size that he is. And I think what's great is Logan's two favorite players are Shaq and Giannis, and they're both very much the type to be. They're the most dominant players of their eras of like being that physical enforcer in the paint, doing it two different ways. But you're right, Shaq's ability to just be like, oh, by the way, I'm just going to throw my arm up and just dunk this thing like while I'm still under the basket. It is very impressive, and it is truly a rare way to see guys score. They literally have a mold on 2K for his little hook shot that he has or his dunks that he has, and like very few big men have that on 2K. But it's just one of those things that, yeah, it is incredibly impressive to see a guy move like that. And you talk about like not having like knee injuries, but there's a few injuries that he has just throughout his entire career, especially Heat and years on. But I'm looking at his career log right now, and I don't know if you can remember this, but like the last year in Orlando and the first year in LA, he only plays around mid 50s game wise. Do you remember what that was? Was that just some like a bunch of injuries throughout the year?
He did have a lot of like nagging stuff. Yeah. So he did miss time. I guess I shouldn't, I probably confused people with that. It's like, he definitely did miss time. And there's obviously the famous one where, it's at the beginning of the Kobe and Shaq feud where, he hurts, I think it's his toe. He talks about how I get hurt on company time. I'm going to rehab on company time. And something he could have fixed in the off season, but didn't. So he missed a bunch of time in the 01 season. And that kind of led to, to the start of their feud. So he definitely did miss time, but it was never like a torn ACL. It was never like, oh man, like Shaq blew out his Achilles. Like, that's crazy. Like he just somehow avoided that, like most guys of that size have some kind of, massive injury where it takes like a whole year out of their career. That just never happened with him. So, but no, he did miss, he had ankle sprains, and I think he had a hand injury, broken like a thumb or something at some point. So no, he did miss games. That's certainly true. But man, when he was out there and locked in, there just was very little the defense could do to stop him. They literally changed rules because of him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredibly impressive. And then the two games we watch, we just see the two different versions of him. There's an Orlando version in LA, but I'm jumping ahead here. I'll hold off my experience with him is the 2010-2011 Celtics season, which Was not a great year for him because it's his final year. Trying to tell my wife that Shaq was on the Celtics was one of the funniest things ever. She's like, "What? He was?" I'm like, "Yeah, he was a Celtic for a little bit there." Another Logan Ball thing. He is one of the biggest Shaq fans out there. He had at one point a jersey of each of the teams he played on. And that's how big of like a Shaq guy he was. He had a jersey for the Magic, the Lakers, the Suns, the Heat, the Celtics, and the Cavs in his college dorm room closet. Now, did all of them fit? Hell no. I don't think the Magic one fit him anymore. But I know at one point he had a jersey for all the teams Shaq played.
That's cool. That's cool.
I was gonna say, I think that's the thing about Shaq too, is that he played for 3 different, like, big time eras, like, whether it was the Magic with him and Penny, whether it was the Kobe, Shaq, Lakers, and then it was the D Wade, Shaq, like, early Heat teams that, of course, won a title. I think that's the best part of Shaq is that, like, he was a major player in 3 major eras of the of NBA. I mean, made a finals appearance with the Magic with him and Penny, which I've said many times, that's the one I go back to a bunch. That's a non-MJ, non-Celtics finals. That's the one I probably rewatch the most. Um, but I think that's the thing about Shaq too, is that there is a love for him and there's like a public respect for how good he really is. There are people who don't necessarily have him in the top 10. I think one of the funniest and one of the only moments that I will ever agree with Stephen A. Smith is when he calls Mad Dog out for having him as the 5th best center in NBA history. Oh my gosh, you do have so many. What's the what is that a USA one right behind
Yeah,
him?
96. Yeah, USA,
Okay.
96 Olympics. Yeah.
But it's like they Mad Dog has him like in the back half of the top 10 of all centers, and Shaq and Jay Williams like look at him like he's stupid. And it's just like in our rankings, we have him in our top. Hold on, let me get this right here because I think we have him in our top 10 tier.
We do.
And according to us, Kareem, Russell, Chamberlain, Hakeem, and Shaq. That's your top 5 centers. In whatever order you want to put them. Well, we have Kareem and Russell top 2. But just that's your top 5 centers. That should be your list at that point. In whatever order you want to put them, that's all up to you. But in our words, he is a top 5 center in the NBA. Should not be
Definitely.
in the back half of the top 10, though. And uh, of the top 10 centers. And I just think he's been a special player. He's in our dark matter tier, along the likes of we've done Larry Bird at this point. And I'm going to hold off on saying other names because I don't want to give our top 10 away out of. But it's it's a pretty special kind of guy. And yeah, you've got the 3 jerseys right behind you:
Yeah, so you can
Lakers,
see. Yeah.
Heat, and Team USA. No
Yeah.
Magic version though.
Matt, I had one. It was a champion one from. So actually, this is champion, Adidas champion. Actually, this might be Reebok. It got a hole in it, and I
Oh,
sold it like nothing. So I'm going to get a champion. I have it on my list, on my champion list. I want 2 different champions of every team. That's kind of
sure.
my goal, and they have to be different designs. So like I have a black horse Grant
Mm,
Magic one, so I need either a blue or white Shaq Magic. So I am going to get one, but yeah, not quite yet. But yeah, I do have 3 so far. So
I love it.
also yeah, the USA team. I mean, he was just absolutely dominant on that 96 team, and then really dominant on the 94 FIBA World Championship team, which the U.S. does not win that tournament very often, but he was MVP of that tournament, dominated, and they did win it that year. So, yeah, I mean, his career is ridiculous. I actually think, whether it's Mad Dog or maybe slightly more kind of newer fans of the game who saw the Cavs and the Magic, and I mean, sorry,
Or
the
the
Cavs and the
Celtics.
Celtics version of Shaq. Um,
Even the
that's the
Suns.
last thing people remember.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what lingers when it's like I don't know, man. You watch these games, these 2 games we watched, and it's like, oh boy. I have a friend Caleb I've referenced before on this, who has gone through, and he is currently on a project watching every NBA Finals game from 2000 onwards. I believe he's
Ooh.
on like 2015 or so right now, but he started last summer. And I remember him texting me like after he watched the 3, 2000, 2001, 2002, the Shaq ones, and he just goes, oh man, he was like, I did not realize like quite how like he just is completely dominant in those series. I mean, 40 and 20 games. I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, these teams, and he's fouling out like multiple players on these teams. Like they just can't do anything with him. If he was a good free throw shooter, he would be completely unguardable.
Yeah, well, that's one of my favorite quotes is that, like, he knew like, Wilt talked to him, like, in the early '90s or something about, like, the 100-point game and tells him, like, "You just gotta do the underhanded," and Shaq is like, "Nah, that doesn't look cool," and he's like, "That's what saved Wilt for 1 game." Like, if Shaq does that for 1 game, what's his career and a high end up
Yeah.
being? Like, it would be a totally different game changer, but that's just also that's Shaq a la mode, at that point, so, um,
Well,
man,
that's a big piece of Shaq's legacy, like you just talked about, is the famous quotes, right? And giving himself
yeah,
nicknames, and he is just
well
like truly like larger than life personality.
Well, so let's do the nicknames. I mean, Shaq immediately already won.
Of course. Yeah.
Diesel, Big Aristotle,
Yeah.
Superman,
Great one.
Shaq
Great one.
Fu, Shaq Daddy, the Big Shamrock, and the Big Cactus. If anyone, I mean, Warrior is also on here. I don't remember that one, but that's just and also our favorite superhero, Kazam.
Yeah, of course. He was Kazam, he was Steel, like he was like he also ushered in like this like big era, kind of took the baton from Michael Jordan of marketing kind of yourself. Like he had his
Yeah.
own brand and he sold it like for cheaper because he wanted kids to be able to buy his shoes, like the Dunkman logo, right? And the Shaq brand shoes, like they were at Walmart and Kmart, and um, that was really cool. Like he has a real um, fondness for kind of like the common man and like really wants to like help out. He's sent like dozens of kids to college, and like just there's
Yeah.
all these stories for people of like all that he's kind of touched their life. Like he just kind of randomly sent, he heard about like some issue that his the guy's mom was having, and he sent him $1,000 to help out. Like he just constantly and still does things like that. Obviously he's got a million companies that he's still a pitch man for, and still in commercials. I mean, he's basically ubiquitous. Like we see him everywhere. He's still on TNT. Like, he's still like he's just all over the place. And he hasn't played in 15 years. So it's I think that's pretty cool. I mean, he has turned his ability into this like lifelong thing, and made tons of money for a lot of people and sent people to college. It's awesome. I really can't say enough about that.
It's pretty special. It is pretty special. Um, yeah, and then also just the different versions of him. You talk about Caleb watching these games. I mean, like, you can say all you want about the triangle offense. It was a offense that you just hey feed Shaq and let him go to work a little bit too. It's not
Yeah,
they talk about that 2001 the 2000 game that we watched. I'm like, that's not the offense. It's just the offense is just feed Shaq
yeah,
and go to work. It's not
yeah,
triangle. It's just there might be a triangle somewhere. It's not there though. It's a triangle of defenders surrounding him, but it's
yeah.
not. It's not the triangle offense. But yeah, so we'll get into it a little bit here too. But like we do for each of these players, we have 5 games that we've defined as these 5 games define this player's career. Um, and Adam, I'm going to have you go through the list, and I want it noted. Logan provided, I think, 3 of the 5 of the games, and the 2 games we ended up watching. So again, there was a lot of involvement from Logan. Winnie just came a little early, and that was unfortunate, but also very fortunate, all in the same way.
Yes, no, we're nothing but throw for the guy. But yeah, okay. Here are the 5 games we went with. So 94, 95 regular season. This was actually on my 4th birthday, November 9th,
Oh
1994.
my gosh!
Magic at Hornets. That's the first game we'll be talking about in full. 99 2000 regular season. Lakers at Clippers. This is in March of 2000. On Shaq's birthday, he goes for 61 and 23 on his 28th birthday, an absolute dunk fest. Just a completely absurd performance. Like I watched the extended highlights this where it shows like all of his buckets. I mean, the Clippers, it's wow. I mean, first of all, that team is pathetic, but
Who's the big man on the
Shaq is just like,
Clippers at that point?
he is running riot. Olowokandi, I think, fouls
Oh,
out. He's early in his career. There's like, I mean, he basically is up against like a bunch of power forwards and like backups, and just dominating. I mean, he has this one lob late that was crazy. Like, and so it's like technically a Clippers home game, but the fans are going absolutely nuts, for
sure.
Shaq, because it's like the Clippers are terrible at the time. Lakers are the best team in the league at the time. So,
Yeah.
and this is during his MVP season, so we wanted to make sure we kind of represent that. So we also have the 2000 Finals Game 1, Pacers at Lakers. That's the second game we're watching in full, so we'll do that in a second. 2002 Finals Game 1, Nets at Lakers, 36 and 16 for Shaq, and another ho-hum dominant finals performance. That's basically what he averaged in a bunch of these finals, was about 35 and 16, 35 and 15. Again, just a ridiculous performer in these big-time games. And then 2006 Eastern Conference first round, Game 6, Miami Heat at Chicago Bulls. This is his second year with the Heat. 30 and 20 for Shaq in a closeout game over the Bulls. His strongest game of the '06 title run, and probably his last truly like really, really great playoff game. He had a couple really good ones in the later part of the playoffs, but that was his best game of that run.
Yeah.
And up to that run sealed his 4th championship. So here's a fun little stat: Shaq finished top 9 in MVP voting every year for the first 13 years of his career. That is just, I mean, there's like 2 or 3 players ever that have done that. Kareem, LeBron, and him. So, yeah, and absolutely ridiculous. LeBron wasn't even top 9 his rookie year though, so that came later. Kareem was I guess for 13 straight years. I mean, but he
Yeah.
did to start his career. So his rookie year, he's top 9 MVP voting and does it again 12 more times after that. Ridiculous. Yeah, I really do think like his playing career is a bit underrated at this point.
Well, and I think that's the other thing too. You talk about that. I mean, we all have seen. I mean, if you're an NBA fan and you were watching during every finals year, there's always seems to be a graphic that comes out on from whatever NBA or ESPN talking about the list of just ridiculous Shaq games, and we're watching one of them tonight. But it's like the 40 and 15 or whatever. It's just like these different crazy stat lines that never end for him, and it's just like, oh, here's another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. It just doesn't stop, and it's one of those things where like, damn, the guy just is it all around impressive no matter what. So yeah, very, very excited to get into some of these games. And so let's go back to the regular season game, which is very early on in his career. It's the 94-95 season, which we do his third year into his career.
Yep.
And Logan chose this game because it's the Morning versus Shaq game. And it's like one of the games where it is a blast to watch them go at it. I mean, in Morning it's a good game, 26-9, and I won't get into it anymore. But then we get Shaq's stat line, you're like, fuck. And you're like, damn it.
It's one-way traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this is very early on in the year. It's the third game for both these teams. So, Adam, why don't you tell us how we got to this game in early 1994 season?
Yeah, like you said, it's his third year in the NBA. He's already one of the best players in the league. He's coming off of that dominant performance for Team USA in the 94 World Championships. Shaq has helped the Magic to the playoffs for the first time as a franchise in 1994. So just a few months prior. He would go on to win the scoring title in 95, which very few centers have done, and be named All-NBA second team. That's because obviously he's playing league with Kareem. I mean with Hakeem, and Hakeem was amazing those 2 years. So he got that. And the team would go on to make the finals this year. This is that crazy Magic run. They go on to beat the Bulls in the second round and go on to make the finals. But like you said, this is only the third game of the year for each team. So that's kind of put us kind of where we're at, kind of in the moment. So yeah, this is certainly a team, and you can even hear it on the broadcast. They're talking about like, is this the kind of the team of the future? Is this the team of the 90s? Like we've had the Lakers, we've had the Bulls. Like, could this be the next team? That was all kind of in the air as this team was taking off.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the early parts of Penny and him together. Horace Grant's still like rocking on this team, and he also has a phenomenal game too.
Yeah, he had just signed. Yeah,
right.
With yeah.
And then this is Nick Anderson, and I was trying to do my research here. Was Dennis Scott hurt for this game?
He must have been. Yeah,
I was gonna say I did not need the Donald Royal minutes until
I saw
Donald
Royal.
A lot of Donald Royal, but a lot of like all the starters. I mean, listen, it goes to overtime. So spoiler alert, but like, gosh, yeah. Well, let's get into it then, because I want to start here. What was your favorite sequence of this game? Like, what's the sequence of this game that fully sums up who Shaq was as a player to you?
The first half of the fourth quarter, I think Shaq has 4 massive dunks. Like, and it's just, I mean, people are hanging off of him, and he's just dominating the paint on both ends. Absolutely nothing Charlie could do. And this is including a Hall of Fame, like really good big man in Alonzo Mourning, who I again, another guy I actually think is a little bit underrated, but just no match for this version of Shaq. Just physically, I mean, he's so fast. Like that's the thing that is like jarring when you watch like the Magic work. He's getting down the floor so quickly for how big he is, and like if he gets early position, I mean, you just can't do anything. You just can't.
Well, and at this point, I mean, he's still not a great free throw shooter, but they're not hacking him as much as at this point because he's so quick to get around guys. And the Lakers years, he's a little like slower moving, but it's a little easier to hack him. But he's a lot stronger, so he's fighting through them and getting and ones every time. But at this point, I mean, you're right. It's this agility that he has, and he shows it off in the third and in the beginning of the fourth quarter, where you're like, gosh, it is a nonstop freight train, and it's a fast and it's incredibly impressive. It's just, and not only that, there are so many of these rebounds at the start of the fourth quarter where he just comes down and you have no doubt that he's the one grabbing them. Because real quickly,
like he goes up in a crowd, but he ends up with it. Yeah,
correct. And you have no doubt his hands are just massive. And real quickly, his stat line in this game is 46 points, 20 rebounds on 20 of 32 shooting, 6-11 from the free throw line, over 50%. That's a win for him. 3 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks. He also has that. He has that block in the first quarter, and I want to say it was on. Shoot, I want to say it was on Hawkins. I'm not entirely sure, but it was a block
I
in the
think it is.
first, and it is just yeah, it just the how high he gets up to block it is just very impressive. So I mean but also just some of the blocks he has are just so effortless because of how quickly he moves, especially early on in his career. So um man, yeah, I could not say enough because you're right. That early fourth quarter is just you're like, okay, sets the tone. And it's a close game throughout. The after the Hornets take the lead in the first quarter, go up big, and then the Magic kind of
Yeah,
bring it back in the third, and it's kind of Shaq just trying to set the tone in the early part of the fourth quarter. Um, and it's a
which he
2 point
does.
win.
Which he
Right,
does.
right. And so yeah, it's one of those things where like they win by 2 in overtime. But yeah, it's just super fun. What was your Marv Albert non-basketball moment from this game?
Just the absolutely beautiful Charlotte Hornets jerseys and court, and I mean, just it's just perfect. It's just yeah, I
I
love it
loved
so
both.
much.
I loved both jerseys.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
that bringing that back. Like we've talked about it before, but the 90s jersey culture is just top notch. I want that back in my life.
Well, I guess really both teams kind of have. I mean, the Hornets
Yeah.
definitely have. They've had different versions of that purple one. I love those so much. But I didn't catch you. The commentators was it was a Charlotte broadcast, but the whoever the color guy was, he could not get over like some of the Shaq plays. He was just like
Oh,
laughing, like he's
yeah.
just like, oh my, he's just like it's like what are you supposed to do? I mean, the putback that he has over like 3 people, the 2-hand putback, I think it ties the game. I made a note of it somewhere. Um, Yes, yes. Shaq gets a massive putback dunk to tie the game at 21.9 left. And then the other end, Zoe gets a putback dunk, that kind of
Yeah.
one-handed putback dunk to tie it. Orlando doesn't get a shot off. That was kind of a weird last possession for Orlando. And that's what got us to overtime. But
Yeah.
overtime was back and forth. But yeah, you're right. The first half, I mean, Charlotte was up 73-60 at the half. I mean, the Orlando defense was terrible in the first half.
It was
70
so
points.
bad. And you can see that's when like because I'm trying to remember at this point, like Dennis Scott's not like this ultimate great defender. And this team wasn't like known for its like defense. It was known for its like kind of innovative offense at that point, just being like at that point, stretch the floor. I mean, Nick Anderson in this game shoots 8 threes, which is kind of just like your rare guy, but he's a
Yeah,
stud
shocking.
at it whenever he's
Yeah.
good. Tonight, not great. In this game, not great. But it's a rare it's a rare commodity when you have a guy who you know can count on that you can count on to shoot that many times for 3. And they had 2 of them in him and Scott. Scott just wasn't playing in this game. So it's just one of those things you're like, was it one of those things where they're missing Scott so badly? Because man, their offense, man, I love this season for the Magic. I go back and watch this season so many times. Anyways, I could
Yeah,
go on.
it's such a good team. I mean, yeah, you talked about Horace already. Horace was awesome in this game. What did he finish? It was like 26 and 16 or something. Like,
25 and 15, one less than
okay,
each.
25 and 15. Yeah. Yeah, he was amazing in this game. And he's obviously trying to make an imprint, on the team and was like a perfect fit for kind of what they needed. So, which is what helps, lead them to the finals ultimately. But yeah, it's a great team. And obviously this is that short 2-year period where the line is shorter, 3-1 line is shorter. And the Magic are
Yep.
one of the teams that took advantage of that the most with their kind of bevy of shooters that they had. But yeah, it's a great game. I mean, there's the Nick Anderson has the game winner, that kind of driving like runner essentially with 1.1 left to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, I'd never watched this game in full. I'd seen that putback before, just on one of those like highlight clips. But yeah, always so fun to watch like this version of this team, kind of in a what is seemingly just like this random regular season game, but obviously it was a great one, and we saw a bunch of competitive play.
Well, and you're also on the other side seeing you talk about Horace and Shaq. On the other side, it's Larry and Alonzo,
Yeah,
who are starting to become a real thing too, you think. And then what's funny to me is just the size difference between the Magic and the Hornets. Because on the Magic, it feels like everyone's at least 6'6" or taller. But on the Hornets, you have Muggsy Bogues and you have Hershey Hawkins, who are not tall at all.
yeah.
They're just both so undersized comparatively to the entire like Magic
Well,
roster.
and Michael Adams, who I could completely forgot about the Michael Adams,
I did too.
Hornets era, but he was pretty solid in this game, and he comes in
He
too,
was.
another undersized guard, just taking crazy shots, but he was pretty effective. Obviously, he had a great run with the Nuggets earlier in his career, but yeah, I did not remember that he had played for Charlotte at all, honestly.
And I was not ready for Robert Parrish to be on the court at all in this game too.
Yeah,
For them, that
yeah,
was like, whoa, forgot about that. And I forgot he has those few years with a few different teams after the Celtics.
yeah. The Bulls eventually.
Yeah. hmm Okay. Anything else from this game?
No, no, it was a fun one.
It was. But honestly, I think this 2001 will have a little bit more to talk about. Uh,
Yes.
because it is the NBA Finals, and we fast forward to 2000, and it's Shaq's second appearance. Sorry, second appearance in finals. Whole new team. He's out in a different conference, and he's with the Lakers. So, Adam, why don't you tell us how we got to the 2000 NBA Finals Game One?
So yeah, this is obviously, in the midst of, at the end of undoubtedly Shaq's best season, his eighth dominant campaign, MVP, just under 30 points a game. He was a scoring champ again, 13.6 boards and a career high 3.8 assists per game. He put up a staggering 30.6 PER. At that point, I think only 3 seasons in NBA history had over a 30 PER. There's only been a few since then. 18.6 win shares, which is just a ridiculous number. Like LeBron's greatest seasons are 20. So he's right there. It's just one of the best seasons ever. All-time great season from an all-time great player. The Lakers were 67-15 in the regular season, best record in the league, but they actually struggled in the playoffs, needing all 5 games to get past the Sacramento Kings in the first round before beating the Suns in 5 in the second round. They then cruised to a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals against Portland, but then found themselves down by 15 in the fourth quarter of Game 7 at home after blowing that 3-1 lead. But some timely shooting and an iconic Kobe to Shaq alley-oop helped the Lakers complete the Game 7 comeback and seal their place in these finals. The Pacers were the 1 seed in the East. They had beaten the Bucks, Sixers, and Knicks on their way to the finals, which obviously set up this Game 1, which we watched the NBC broadcast with the classic Bob Costas and Doug Collins combo on the call.
Real quick, we did do the Game 7 of Blazers-Lakers for the Anatomy of a Franchise episode for the Lakers. If you want to go back and listen to that from 2 summers ago. That was
I actually think we did it for the Blazers, if I remember correctly.
Shit. Are you right? I think you might be right now that you say that.
We did it. We definitely watched it and talked about it.
We
I
definitely
actually think
watched
it was for the Blazers.
No, I think it was the Lakers.
Okay, cool.
At least, hold on. It's not italicized. No, no. We didn't do it. We did 77, 92, and 2019 for them, for the Blazers.
Okay. So we did it for Lakers. Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Great game.
Okay. Listen, I mean, you could talk about different parts of this game for Shaq, and I think there are a few really good answers. You talk about the fourth. I get that. You talk about. I'm going to just go at the start of the game, honestly. It is nonstop. It is 15 points immediately. And it's just the immediate impact that he has on this game. And it sets the tone. And it's him and Ron Harper, honestly, which was the craziest thing to me, that him and Ron Harper were just going crazy together in this first quarter. Because he has 15, Harper has 8, and it's Kobe and Harper just finding him for these timely passes throughout that entire first quarter. And Rick Smits is just a joke against him. And they throw Dale Davis on him a little bit too, but man, Smits just has no shot against this man.
No, and Smits is trying to make him pay on the other end, his kind of jump shooting and his kind of deeper range and stuff.
First shot's a airball hook.
Yeah, but it's it doesn't really work. And this is the thing is people kind of do the whole would Shaq dominate as much in today's game? Offensively, yes, no question. I mean, if anything, he's gonna have a lot more space, to kind of operate in. It'll be a little harder to get him the ball because it's just kind of the defensive rules, or it's a little easier to kind of load up and make entry passes harder. But because he was so nimble, especially early in his career, I think with this space kind of as a roller or in transition, he would be completely devastating. I do think he did struggle a bit to kind of guard guys on the perimeter. So I do think a really good, a genuinely really good shooting big man could kind of affect him a little bit. But I mean, but then on the other end, he just makes them pay with the highest efficiency shots, literally at the rim dunks.
Right.
That's just. Now I want to go. I made a note that I wanted to talk about this at some point because I heard one person's criticism of him just in kind of reading about it in the last few days and stuff like that and watching highlights and stuff is, man, all he did was dunk. It's first of all, that's just not true. Obviously he had a really nice touch in that.
Relax, everybody.
The jump hook when he would turn kind of towards his right shoulder, he loved that shot and he had a great touch on that. But even if that was true, which it's not, I've coached basketball for 17 years now. I would kill to have a player who all he did was dunk. That would be amazing.
It's an automatic 2 points.
It's the best shot in basketball. Yes, it's the most effective shot in basketball. It's that would be so valuable to have a player, and it was so valuable to have a player who just consistently could just get dunks. I mean, his scoring in this game, it's 15 in the first quarter, like you said, 6 in the second, 10 in the third, 12 in the fourth, and it's just every time there's if they make one mistake defensively where he gets in a little bit too deep, it's an automatic 2 points. I've never had a player that I could say, like, you know what? If they just make a little mistake, we're just going to get 2 free points. Like, that's just because we have a guy so dominant and so good around the rim. Like, I've never had that. So that'd be amazing. So I've never understood that as a criticism. Like, people try to use that to like criticize Blake sometimes. Like, oh, all he does is dunk. It's like, first of all, it's not true. But even if it was, that's still incredibly valuable. You have a player in your team who gets the easiest shot in basketball way better than anybody else in basketball. That's really valuable.
He averaged 30 points a game just dunking.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'll take those 30 points
Yes.
every day of the week.
Yes. Led the league in field goal percentage like 10 times. Like, yeah, no, I'll take that for sure.
You talked about like him kind of struggling against big like good shooting big men, and the Pacers were built perfectly with that, with Smith and Perkins,
Yep.
and our guy Austin Crochet.
Crozier, yeah, he had a good game. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Who
he
would
was
have thought
solid.
he'd be 16 points and have the second most points on the Pacers in an NBA Finals game? Not I. But it's one of those things where like they were the team that was built perfectly to beat it. Didn't matter. They played
Yeah,
3 different teams in these 3 finals here, where their center group is totally different. Like you have Smits and Perkins here in this game. Next year they have Mutombo, who's a little, I understand, past his prime, but he's still like a defensive stalwart. And Shaq's like, nah.
doesn't
And
matter.
then
Yeah,
and then whatever you want to call the culmination of what shit fest they had in New
yeah,
Jersey as a
yeah.
center crew. I mean, listen, Tom McCulloch, I apologize, but you're nothing, my friend, to what Shaq is. And so this is the Moneyball line. Shaq is here. There's a whole group of different players here. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's the whatever the Nets had in that 2002 season. I apologize to the 2002 Nets fans. But yeah, it's just what he's doing in this game is ultra special. Doesn't help that Reggie has a shit game for the Pacers
Oh,
too.
disastrous game for Reggie.
Yeah, probably the one of the worst I have like ever watched of his before. Like, and I've watched this game before, but it's just like rewatching it, like it just doesn't stop. He's 1 of 16. It's brutal.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but anyways, I had the first quarter. Did you also the first quarter?
Yeah, I put the first, and I just talked about his consistency too, like how he
Yeah.
just, each quarter had like a stretch where it's like, well, nothing we can do now. He's just gonna get a dunk again. Like, this is just,
Yeah.
here, it's like an easy jump hook. Like, cool, I loved that little kind of turn on the opposite side jump hook he had though. Like, that's a really cool shot. That's really hard to make. Like, you have to have huge hands. You have to be so strong to kind of be able to get that, on balance, like get it off quick. Like, I love that shot. He made a bunch of these. He even had a jumper in this game, like a mid range jumper, kind of late in the clock, like that kind of one hand, like. It actually looked kind of
It's
smooth.
disgusting.
But, yeah. But yeah, so his final line, 43, 19, 4 and 3 on 21 of 31 shooting. I mean, these are like all-time great finals games. Like some of your very favorite players of all time have not had games like this, and he has like 10 of them.
Yeah. And also 1 of 6 from the free throw line. Can't forget that one.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. The Marv Albert non-basketball moment of the game. Can I just say that it feels like, we have different commentators or just like talking heads who clearly have favorites in their worlds. Nick Wright loves LeBron. Skip Bayless hates LeBron, loves Jordan. I think Doug Collins has a mini boner for Shaq. And I think that just really comes out in this game. Like, he can't stop talking about him. And I get it. This is a phenomenal game. But you got to chill. Like, we can feel you rising out of your chair just ever so slightly in this game.
Yeah, well, I wonder because Doug Collins obviously coached for a long time, so I wonder if that's like almost the coach in him coming out. Like, man, I wish I because he never got to coach a player like that. Like, I mean, he coached Michael Jordan, so I'm not saying he didn't coach a player as good, but
different position, different dominance.
where it's like there's a comfort blanket of like, wow, at any moment I can just post this guy up and it's going to be like a really good chance we score. Like, that is such an advantage. I just don't like. It's so hard to generate offense. Like, sometimes against good defenses, like to have a guy that's like, well, just when all else fails, like just throw it to him, and even if there's 3 people around him, like we got a good chance for him to either make the shot or get his own rebound and like make the next one. I know that sounds so simplistic, but that's like really like that would be so valuable to have. I did also talk about Doug Collins and Costas in mine. And also just like how good Ahmad Rashad was as like the sideline guy. Like,
God.
It's just a really quality broadcast aside from some of the halftime stuff. Isaiah Thomas, that was not.
Well, yeah, I skipped that part. I'm not gonna lie to you, I skipped that part. No, Costas, and we talked about with the Pippen podcast. Like, I forget that it is literally the he does the final one for Jordan, and then but you always just like assimilate that that's like what Costas was always doing. He was always working like the Jordan finals. It was mostly the Kobe Shaq finals more than anything, and I think
Yeah.
that's the issue in my head. It was just like, and this is a reminder of that. And so, um,
Well, but even
yeah,
that he only did this one because it went back to Marv Albert for 01 and 02.
that's right. Thank
So
you,
he does
friend.
3. Costas does 3 as the main play-by-play guy. He does
98, 99,
98,
and
99, and
2000.
2000. Yeah, yeah.
Was this when we were worried about our guy Marv?
Well, there was, yeah, I mean, yeah, that was certainly an off the court incident. That was
Sure,
real. I mean, really, like that's not good. I mean, so there's a reason he was not doing finals games for
sure.
3
No,
years.
I get it. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, sure.
yes, yes.
Okay. Anything else about this game?
Nothing specific. I mean, obviously, the Lakers go on to win the series. It's actually a pretty good series. Like the Pacers
Yeah.
kind of come back and make it fun. Game 4 is the swing game. That's when where Shaq fouls out, and he was awesome in that game. But Kobe kind of carries him down the stretch when Shaq fouls out. It's like 2 or 3 jumpers that really kind of seal that one. They go up 3-1, and then Kobe I think misses game 5. Well, I think Kobe missed game 3 maybe. And then the Pacers win game 5 to force a game 6 back in LA. And that's actually a pretty tight game. Like this Pacers team was really good. Like this is a pretty loaded squad. That actually did have some guys that could kind of give these Lakers guys problems. And this Lakers team, like I think people think of the 3-peat team and it's like, oh, it's Fisher and it's Rick Fox and it's, Horace Grant eventually comes on the scene. But it's like this 2000 team, like those guys are all coming off the bench. The Fisher, Ori, like Glenn Rice is starting. AC Green is starting. Ron Harper is starting, right? So it's like a little bit different kind of cast of characters than I think people totally remember. So yeah, it's kind of a fascinating little snapshot into, the NBA 25 years ago. But I enjoyed it. And it's, this is when I was really starting to pay attention, hardcore as a kid. So always fond memories of watching these games.
Well, I was going to say, in your mind, is that Kobe, Shaq, Glenn Rice like a real big 3?
I mean, honestly, Kobe and Glenn Rice's numbers are quite a bit closer that year than anybody wants to admit
Right.
or
That's what I'm
say, I guess.
saying.
But yeah, it's like so that I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, Kobe was a much better overall player still,
Right.
but no, Glenn Rice was a pretty important guy. He faded a tad as the playoffs went on, but especially in the regular season, I mean, they won 67 games. Like there's a reason for that. And this is prior to Kobe really breaking out. 01 is really his first like truly
Correct.
great season. So yeah, this is not quite, and especially in these finals, like it's so clearly Shaq's show. And the other guys are kind of, there to support. Kobe has spectacular plays and moments like he has in game 4. But over the course of the game, this is very clearly, Shaq is kind of the sun, the moon, and the stars here. So yeah, I not quite a big 3 because I still think Kobe overall as a player is just kind of on a level above, but Glenn
Sure.
Rice was really good and important for this team for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then, yeah, he's not on 01. I mean, Rick
Right.
Fox steps up a little bit more the next year.
More
And
Fisher the next year. Yeah.
yeah. It's just a little bit of bounce around. Okay. Let's do our different categories we have for each of these guys. So what you clearly have a few jerseys. We talked about the 3 behind you. What jersey would you buy for this player, or would you ever buy, or would you clearly have bought one? Honestly, it's the Magic, like white with the black pinstripes. Like I just want that one. That's the one I'd want. And the fact that they brought those back last year, I love. So continue to bring those back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've got a Magic one, like I said, on my list as well. That will probably be happening sooner rather than later. So, no, same for me. Magic.
Love it. What other top 50 player would you pair with him? And it can't be a former teammate of his. And so
Right.
there's
Which
clearly a
rules out
mold.
a lot of players, honestly.
Right. No, I know. Which there's a mold, and there's a mold that
Yeah.
works. And it's like, do we do the easy answer and just do Michael? I'm like, is that just like the best version of this? Or, but I'm gonna let you answer first, then I'll go.
So I actually picked a player that we watched in this game, who he did not get to play with, who was terrible in this game. But I actually think would be kind of a fun combo with him. Could kind of do all the things, like he would fill in the little holes that Shaq did have in his game because of the free throw shooting and kind of the lack of a total variety of where on the floor he could score. He was a little bit harder to play through, like in the last couple minutes of games. So, who's one of the best, kind of clutch shooters of all time? Reggie Miller. And also a guy who, given the rules of the time where you couldn't load up, you couldn't kind of like pre-front and all that stuff, if you had Reggie Miller as the guy throwing the entry passes, you're never helping off of Reggie Miller. So, like, if you just got them on the same side, that'd be so valuable to have. He dribbles up the left side, throws it to Shaq on the left block. It's like, well, you're never doubling. So like Shaq's either going to have to see a double come from the opposite side, which is like really easy for him to read. He just makes an easy pass. Or obviously you double off Reggie Miller. He's got a wide open three. So Reggie Miller was my answer. I actually think that'd be kind of a good fit. And I think personalities too. Like they're both like obviously super competitive dudes, but I think Reggie would do a good job of understanding, like, okay, like he's the reason we're great. I'll just kind of do everything that makes me great, and this will kind of take us to another level. And I actually could have seen them playing together for longer than he played with some of his other co-stars.
I like that. I like that. In reality, I'm not gonna go with Michael, but I'm gonna go with a guy who Shaq ended up playing with his longtime teammate, and I'm gonna go with John Stockton. Because
Mm,
let me tell you, if we had the pick and roll duo, and if somehow that would work out between those two, and they ended up running that offense, damn. I mean,
yeah,
have fun trying to guard that. And I mean, one of the better passers in NBA. I mean, I think. Listen, Malone had at he's what, the third or fourth? Is he now fourth all time scorer? No, he's third. He's still third.
fourth.
He's fourth now. Am I dumb? Is it just hold on, Adam, we're supposed to be the NBA nerds here.
No,
Is
it's third,
LeBron
third. Yeah,
okay,
third.
thank you. I was like, did Kobe end up passing them? Did I miss something?
No,
Okay, it was third. If Malone was third, I feel like Shaq would have been like if they would have had a long time like run together. And listen, I mean, I know Malone isn't like the biggest of personalities, but he had his own issues. And if Stockton could deal with that, I feel like Stockton could deal with Shaq. And so I feel like he's a much more stoic human, and Stockton is. But I think he he can be clutch when you needed him to, but he knew who the main guy was. And I think that's like the
yeah,
biggest thing too. So if you know who that Shaq is the number one option, and I think that was the biggest issue with like Kobe. I think there was a little debate about like who is the number one real guy. And I think Stockton would know, hey, you're number one. I'll just be around to help whenever you need me.
yeah. That's a great fit. Obviously Stockton, he's probably have to go from throwing a bunch of pocket passes to a lot of lobs. Like that would be maybe the biggest
Correct.
difference. It's like, oh shoot, I don't have to. I can throw it a little higher for Shaq. Yeah, that's a great combo. I mean, yeah, but think about it. I mean, you can't choose. Like just working backwards, any of the big three Celtics, right? Like, so we can't choose any of those guys. Can't choose LeBron. Can't choose
No,
Wade. Can't choose Steve Nash. Can't choose Kobe or Penny. I mean, Penny's not in our top 50, but like, there's so
can't
many guys, and like
you can't
immediately
do
rule out.
Peyton. You can't do Carl Malone.
Right? Yeah, knock both of them out too. Yeah. So, yeah, ton of guys that you just kind of immediately. I mean, yeah, he played Peyton twice, in LA and Miami. So,
Right.
yeah, it's pretty. It was a kind of a smaller field than usual.
Yeah. You would think. Yeah. No. You're absolutely right. What players are of the similar mold of Shaq? I don't know if we've ever figured out the right wording for this, but this is where I'm going to go with
Yeah.
it.
I like the
And
family tree. I think that's a good.
all right, yeah.
I
So,
like
what players
yeah,
are of the
yeah.
Shaq family tree?
Man, it's tough. I
I
mean,
think I
right
said the only
now,
one. I think I said the only one earlier, and I think it's like Giannis. Like
yeah,
honestly, in a
yeah,
different way, Giannis isn't like back to the basket, like doing moves like that. He has some of that, but it's
yeah.
the physical dominance on
Around the
offense.
rim,
Correct.
constantly. Yeah, yeah. Because even like Embiid, it's like, especially now, he's like much more of a jump shooter. Like,
Yeah,
elbows, and that's really more
and
where he
free
operates. Now,
throws.
he can do stuff down low, but yeah, and free throws. Yeah, yeah, Giannis probably is. I mean, yeah, this is how unique Shaq was. It's like, and the game changed too, right? It's like because
Yeah,
of him, the rules changed, and um, yeah, I mean, that really is wild. There's so few players that, like, literally they were like we have to change the rules, or else this is just going to get like easier and easier for this guy to dominate. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, being one of the first examples of that. So, yeah, it's tough. There's not really many players like him anymore, and there weren't really many before him. I mean, he's what Wilt is kind of like his kind of earlier analog.
Wilt and I mean, I think of a similar time like Robinson, but I
Yeah,
mean,
true.
even
Yeah, some
I
guys
was
in his
gonna say,
era, Ewing and Robinson. Yeah, true. Yeah,
yeah, and you could say Hakeem, but I'm like Hakeem's felt more smooth, and it
yeah,
wasn't. If that makes more sense,
finesse.
it's not like
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, finesse.
yeah,
Yeah, and Ewing had that too, depending on what part of his career. But I do agree, like we talked about on his episode, the physical nature of Ewing was just
yeah,
what was so impressive about him too. But that's just '90s big men, late '80s, early '90s big men. It felt like that was like their entire thing.
yeah. It
Uh,
was.
so Shaq ended up lasting. I mean, coming a little later and lasting longer than all of them. So I think that's what helped his dominance too. It was like he was the last of these great the last of the line of these great big men of the like 90s,
Yeah, yeah,
and just outlasted them.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
Dwight would be. I guess one we
ooh,
should mention. Yeah,
ooh, why did we forget the secondary Superman? How
yeah.
did we
No,
forget?
we should certainly mention Dwight Howard. Yeah. I mean, not as good, but was really good. I mean, he was really good.
Hand up, is Dwight better on defense than Shaq?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, just making
Yeah,
sure. Offensively, we both agree that Shaq was far better,
was
but
way
there's
better.
like
Yeah, yeah,
the defensive nature. Both phenomenal rebounders.
yeah.
Both
No,
can't
but
shoot free throws.
Dwight's mobility on defense, like his like lateral mobility, like was quite a bit better than Shaq's. Like, um, and
Right,
his defensive like prowess lasted longer than Shaq's did because Magic Shaq was a force. I mean, one year he finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. I mean,
right.
so yeah, it wasn't like he was some stiff, but like as he got older, he did become a bit more ground bound. Whereas Dwight really like was still a great defensive player even later in his career.
Yep. Where are they now? Well, he's like you said, he owns like
He's everywhere.
4, 5 major corporations. He's like on every television. Like if
Yeah,
you've heard of the General Insurance, you've heard of Shaq. If you've
yeah,
seen Pizza
he's
Hut
everywhere.
commercials over the past like few years, you've seen
Papa
Shaq.
John's, Papa
Papa
John's.
John's, dang it,
Yes,
Mitchell, get the right pizza spot.
it's all right.
And then yeah, I mean he's been with TNT and now ESPN for doing the what am I blanking on? NBA Tonight? Why am I blanking
Inside.
on?
Yeah.
Inside the NBA. Thank you. Um, yeah,
And that was a
it's
big deal when he was like retiring because everyone knew he was going to do media, and it was like who's going to sign Shaq? Like that was a huge deal at the time. Um, and like there's a huge ad campaign like we got Shaq, he's coming to Inside, and there was a little fear that he was going to kind of mess up the chemistry, and I think it kind of did for a little while, but ultimately they got they kind of found like the Shaq and a Fool segment and things like that, and obviously him and Chuck's dynamic and it obviously ended up working, but at first it was a little clunky. I was like, oh man, I loved this show, and now it's like I don't know, like the Shaq made a lot of sense here, but they kind of ironed it out and obviously became a legendary show.
yeah, whenever Chris Webber was on, it was an
Ugh,
immediate turn off though.
yeah.
So um, anything else about Shaq before we tell you who our next player is?
No, no, love this guy. Loved watching these games and highlights of other ones, and yeah, just again, I think he's a little bit underrated, but really happy to do this. This is why we do this project for people to kind of hear about. Oh yeah, remember how great Shaq was? Let's go watch these games.
Well, and we come off the episode where we have Russ the week, I mean, the earlier, and you're like, it's two very different physical forces of nature. I think that's
Hmm.
the other thing. Could Russ be on this list of like amongst the family tree just as a guard, like just
Sure.
this physical force? Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's just he is a very unique skill set, a very unique player. But yeah, anyways, our next player, Adam, Isaiah Thomas, and a player who is also surrounded in controversy, just because of the team he played on. Um, but a guy who I should probably hate as a Celtics fan, and yet I find a very soft spot for him in my heart, and I don't understand it, but it's there, and it might be because of the Bad Boys Pistons documentary. Um, but we're very excited to do that one next.
Yeah.
Um, thanks everyone for listening. Uh, if you're enjoying this, we are now almost halfway through our summer. Well, I guess this is the 13th episode of the 26 episodes we're doing this summer, including the intro. Uh,
Yeah.
so thanks for keeping up with us. If you've been listening to all these, this has been the anatomy of a superstar for Shaquille O'Neal.